So now that we've either downloaded a word list or created a word list, we're going to go ahead and perform a dictionary attack on a WPA2 network. Now if you remember before, we set our WPA2 network to have the password of Dragon Breath. And in our creating of a dictionary lab, I showed you where this rocku.txt file was, and we added Dragon Breath as the 15,000 entry. So we're going to see how long it takes to crack this password, knowing that it's in our dictionary, and seeing how long it takes to churn through 15,000 attempts. So the first thing we need to do is go back into our terminal. We'll expand that. And we got to check and see if our card is in monitoring or access point mode. And so we're going to go ahead and do iwconfig. And you can see here it is in managed mode, which means it's looking for an access point. So what we're going to want to do is turn that into a monitor mode. And we do that through airmon ng start wlan 0. And here we go, it's going to go ahead and kick that card into wireless mode, into monitor mode, and it should become WLAN 0 mon here in a second. And we'll verify that by doing an iwconfig once more. And you can see right here, we are now in monitoring mode, which is perfect. The next thing we need to do is we need to find that network we want to attack. And if you remember, the way that we did that before is we used arrow dump ng. And so we just do arrow dump ng, and then we put in WLAN 0 mon, and up to the screen we should start seeing the access point. And the access point we want is this wireless hacking WPA2 right here. And so what I need to do is copy that, we'll go ahead and cancel that so it'll stop scrolling on us, but we need to copy that access point right here, and we need to know what channel it's on, which is channel 1. Now, do we see anybody connecting to 28C6, that station? Well, yes we do, right here. We see there is something connecting to it, and that actually is my iPhone. We're going to need that because what we're going to do is send a deauthorization command to that iPhone, which will kick it offline for a second, and then when it reconnects, we're going to capture that handshake to a file, and then we're going to compare offline that file handshake to our passwords to crack the password. So now what we want to do is we want to capture all the data going to that network into a file, and then we're going to send a deauthorization attack. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to scroll this screen down just a hair and make it so that we have a little bit more room. And we're going to actually create a second terminal window because we're going to need it in a second. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and capture ourselves to a file. So we're going to do arrow dump ng WLAN 0 mon. We're going to do -c for the channel, channel 1. --BSSID, paste in the MAC address, and then --write and the file name, which is going to be wireless hacking WPA, and then hit enter. It's going to go ahead and start capturing that to a file, and you can see it's capturing that iPhone traffic. It's got just a couple of frames, and it's not really moving anywhere. So we can either sit here and wait for somebody to connect to the network and capture it, or we can force a connection, and that's what we're going to do here by using a deauthorization. So we're going to send a deauthorization, and the way we're going to do that is use air replay -ng. We're going to use --deauth and then 0, which is how many deauthorization packets we want to do. In this case, we're just going to send an unlimited amount until I tell it to cancel. -a and the access point. So we're going to copy the access point we're targeting. And then we're going to use -c for the client that we're going to disconnect from that network so we can capture the handshake when that iPhone reconnects. And then we're going to do WLAN 0 mon, which is the interface card. And we'll hit enter, and off it goes, sending deauthorizations. And so we have captured it. We'll hit cancel. We sent about 6 or 7 there. That's enough for the handshake. So at this point, we can go back to the original monitoring and go ahead and cancel it. So now we can make our screen full screen again. We'll go ahead and clear the screen, and let's do an ls. And here you can see we have that capture file that we just captured. Now in there should be our handshake. So if you remember, we had that word list back in the user share word list directory called rocku, and that's the one we're going to use. So we're going to use a program called aircrack ng, because everything is part of the Air NG suite. And the file we're going to use is this wireless hacking WPA-01.cap file, which is the capture file. Now, if you put -w, you're going to specify the word list. If not, it's going to attempt doing something like a brute force attack, and it's just going to take you forever. So when we do this -w, we're going to put in the word list, and the word list we're going to use is in /user/share/wordlist/rocku.txt. So when you have your full command there, aircrackng, the name of the file you want to attack where the handshake is captured, -w, and the list and where that word list is located. Go ahead and hit enter. You can see it's 9:28 p.m. here. Let's see how long this takes. Off it goes, cracking away. We're cracking about 830 keys per second, and it says it's going to take us 3 hours. Well, right now it already found it. It found it in just a couple of seconds there you saw. It only had to go through 5,000 keys until it found the particular key we wanted, which was Dragon Breath. And there it is right there. It went through about half of 1% of that entire word list. Because if you remember, that word list had over 14 million keys. And we put it in at about the 15,000 key mark is the line that we put it in. So you see how quickly that can work if your key is in the right place in the file. Now, if that key was number 14 million, it would have taken us probably 3 or 4 hours to find it. Now, if the key wasn't in any of those 14 million, like it wasn't when we originally found that file, we never would have cracked this key. And so it's really important to make sure that you have a good word list and to realize that you're not going to crack every network out there. Now, why is that important? Because from a security standpoint, if you're running the network, you have to have a long, complicated password. Because if you don't, someone is going to crack your network very quickly and very easily using the tools that we just showed you in this example.